7 months. And if I had to sum up where I've been in 4 statements, I've been taking risks and walking in favor. I've been uprooting old systems and realigning them to fit where I'm going and where I am and where I'm headed. I've been recentering myself in the middle of my life and prioritizing me. And I've been working on my brand identity, which is why I'm sitting here right now after 7 months. So let's get into it. We got lots to talk about. I'm so excited. I'm trying to act like I'm doing this little YouTube video. I am so excited. I missed my vlogs. I missed talking to the camera. Like, did I go on a freaking sabbatical? Like, what the heck? So yeah, let's get started. I've been thinking of how I wanted to do this because it's been 7 months. So much has happened. And I'm like, how am I going to put everything that happened into a video and even make it entertaining to watch? So I'm going to treat this as a little FaceTime call. Hey, what's up? Oh my gosh, girl, it's been 7 months. We haven't spoken to each other in 7 months. And then you say, what's up? How you been? How's work? Girl, let me tell you. Grab your things. We got things to talk about. I don't even know where to start. Let me get my tea. My lemon ginger. I almost went with lavender chamomile today, but I feel like lemon ginger was good for what I need right now. The beginning of this year, I decided that I wanted to have a word. So this year I wanted to go into it differently. And instead of me focusing on goals, I wanted to kind of have a way that I was walking through the year and a focus that could, no matter what, does it align with the word? So my word for this year was favored. Having that as my word has allowed me to stay focused and have a different kind of posture going through the year. I don't know about y'all, but sometimes I forget that I'm like a whole adult and I have free will. And I'm like, I walk like if I can't have anything I want. Like if I don't have a father that can do anything, like literally whatever it is I want, I have to ask him and he will give it to me. And I just needed to make sure that I'm aligned so I can ask for what I wanted. Okay, let's look at our notes because I said I wasn't going to babble and I just freaking babbled like a Babylon. So first, let's just start with the first event of the year. We had an opportunity to throw an event with a venue. And it wasn't a venue or nothing that we were looking for. I was praying and asking God to give me an opportunity, put something in my lap that's bigger than me so I could see what you could do. Not because I don't believe you, but I need to see what it looks like when I take a risk. Because I have never been good at taking risks in my life. I would always be more safe. And I would always be like, God, show me what you're going to do first. And then I'm going to see if that plan works. And then I'll have a plan B just in case. And then we could move. Then I could take my step. But until I see that, I'm not really taking any steps. And I would always so trick myself into thinking I'm taking risks by just like doing things that I know that I can accomplish. So all of the past events that we've done, all of the things that I've done in my career in the past have always been from a place of, I know I could do it. Pretty much was in control the whole time. So God placed this event in our life and he gave me the vision. I came up with a brand called Soulstice Live and it's underneath the umbrella of JB Entertainment. So it's like, kind of like our live music sector. So it's not just limited to music, but our first show was going to be with Will Gittens, Eric Bellinger, Trevor Jackson, and Gogo Maru. We hand-selected those artists. We felt like they identified with the mission and the focus that we wanted to do as a company. And we just got started. Before the journey started, I was given a dream that I prayed for. Listen, I literally was like, holy, I said, God, before I go about this, I need you to give me whatever I would need to make sure I do this and do this correctly. Because I know my heart's in the right place. I need your help. If we're going to partner, we have to partner. And I'm going to seriously partner, but you got to gave me the craziest dream of all time where I got to the point where it was life or death situation. And I had no other choice but to surrender and but to be like, God, is either you going to do it or you not. And I'm going to die. That was literally in my dream. So I got to the point where I was like, if I perish, I perish. In that, I saw him make things work. And it didn't just work. It was like one of the most beautiful things I had ever seen. Having that dream gave me something to kind of refer back to as I went about this process. We had a venue. This was like literally the biggest thing that we've ever done. We got to so many points where we were like, how are we supposed to do this? We pulled together all of our finances. Like there were so many, we did not have the money to do that. We did not have the resources to do it. I could not tell you, if we tried everything we could, we were not about to be successful. The only reason that event was successful was because of God. The only reason, and I'm telling you, I'm looking you right in the eye, that's literally the only reason, because he turned things around the day before. He was dropping money out of literally nowhere. Literally nowhere. We had every single dime that we needed to put that event on. I realized, I was like, dang, like, I haven't been taking enough risks. And I'm so glad I got to experience this at the beginning of the year after I told myself that my word of the year was favor, because I'm like, I've been taking these little baby risks, asking God to look out for me. For what? You can do it on your own. You want to drive, you could take it. So I literally was like, okay, I see what you're doing. And I see after the completion of the event, we brought out about 700 people to our event. It was phenomenal. Everything looked amazing. We took a shot in the dark and we landed really close to the target.
This is Soulstice Live, Midnight Time. Ain't this what you asked for? Filling up your passport. Yeah, yeah. You ain't gotta pay for it. That's what you got a man for. Worldwide.
So we have a lot more information, resources, and we have everything we need to run it back again next year and do it like even better. So I'm very excited about that. The thing that I left with that I continued to kind of lean into was taking risks that I am not in control of. It's not a risk if you're still in control. You just got a life jacket on. You can't say you're taking a jump and you got a life jacket. You got to take a jump in a space where if you fail, that is the end. And if your risk isn't that, of course, you got to be calculating, you got to pray and do all that. But if your risk is a cutesy risk, it's not risking enough. The type of stuff that I was asking God to do in my life, asking him to show any kind of faith that I wanted to have, how I expect to practice my faith if I'm never taken there. So I really just, that was the thing that kind of opened my eyes, and it kind of changed my posture, because not only did I execute, I did it well. And I was able to see myself in a different lens, and from a different lens. Like, I always had this imposter situation where I'm like, I'm technically not this, I'm technically didn't go to school for that, so I'm not necessarily like an event produced. Girl, you produced a heck of an event. We provided an opportunity for God to use us to pay and help other people for jobs and give them opportunities. And that to me was the thing that really just was like, I can see myself. That is part of my purpose. I want to provide opportunities, and I want to connect people, and I want to make things happen through bringing people together. Because when I tell you, after that event, I low-key had PTSD. Not really, but I low-key was like very like drained. I was exhausted because it was months of marketing and creating and planning and figuring out where to get money, and all. It was so much stress and it was so much pressure that I was like, I need a break. And I was so excited because we had already, at the end of last year, actually after we went to Switzerland the first time, y'all remember when we went June of 2025? They booked us right when we landed. They booked us for February 2026. So we already had that booked before we even knew we were doing Soulstice. So I was like, oh, thank you. We're going to Switzerland. It was so weird for me because I'm like, dang, like we still hadn't even finished paying everybody back from the event. And there were some people waiting on some money, and that I hate owing people money. So I literally was like, oh my God, what are we about to do? They're going to see us in Switzerland and think we just live in lavish. No, we doing some more work. We trying to get some money to pay y'all back for the event. But it was a nice reset. I really had a good time, and I'm not going to go into detail about Switzerland because it's its own vlog, and you guys got to stay tuned. That's coming up. But it was such a nice reset. I love Switzerland. It was chill. They plan everything out. And the best part about it, it was that it was my first time seeing a bunch of snow. I've never seen a bunch of snow. So I hate the snow. And if you know me, I hate the cold. So I was really excited to be able to see the snow. So while I was in Switzerland, I'm like, I'm in Switzerland. Let's be present here and let's take it. Because if I try to take control back of the wheel, I add all this unnecessary stress and unnecessary like worry that doesn't need to even exist. And I'm honestly, as I'm saying this, I'm even just remembering that I had to tell myself to just be And that was also part of what I wanted to work on this year, is like God gives you the rest that you need. And if you're so focused on your plan and you happening and things happening according to what you got coming, you're going to miss it. And you're going to miss the opportunities and miss everything that he has in the moment. So while we were in Switzerland, the food, we stayed at a family hotel and it was so nice. Like we got to see the snow. It was just such a quick, we were there for like 3 days. And I love just like traveling with my brothers. It's so funny. It's literally like the best thing ever. It's like my friends. It was such the rest that we needed, because guess what? When we came back, so get this, March 2025, I went to a panel. This was my first panel I've ever been to. I've been to a panel before, but I really wasn't paying attention. I was just like in the room. But this was my first panel that I went to where I felt like, oh my gosh, I left with something. Like I had a new book that I wanted to read. And I actually was like listening to what was being said because it was like really hitting home for me. And there was this girl on the panel and she was talking about how like this was her first time doing it. And I'm like, first of all, she did a great job. I did not know that was her first time. She looked so comfortable on there and she shared some really good stuff. While I was at the panel, I specifically remember thinking in my head, and I kind of whispered it. I was like, I feel like I could do something like this. I'm like, God, like, I feel like I can definitely do this. And this is something that I kind of want to do. But I whispered it in my mind because I low-key didn't want God to hear me think it, because I knew once I thought it, he was going to be like, boom, he's going to give it to me. And at that point, I was like, me speaking in front of a panel, like, what am I even going to speak about? So crazy thing is, tell me why. Beginning of this year, my first lady she did a wellness symposium called Thrive. And she was like, would you like to speak on the panel? I said, first of all, let's put a pin here. God, of all the things that I've been asking you for in my life, the one thing I'm whispering kind of like, I don't know, you hear me, and then it's happening this quick. I was like, ugh, it made me so anxious at first. And then I was like, girl, you just freaking did Soulstice Live. You just did that whole event. And look at what he did for you in that event. And you walking in favor, and you told yourself no matter what opportunities come this way, you are going to address them and approach them like you are favored. And that he is with you and he's going to give me everything that I need in whatever he's asking me to do. So if that's the goal that we told ourselves, like, let's get it together. So even before I even thought about it, because I don't like to answer questions. If somebody asks me to do something, just know I'm gonna have to sit with it. Even if I know the answer is yes, I'm sitting with it. I told myself, God, after I said yes, I said, God, use me. If this is something that you want for me, make it happen. Give me all the tools that I want. I wasn't even worried about how I was going to speak, because I'm like, one, not only did he bring the opportunity to me, I didn't have to go fight or search for it. He brought it right in my lap. It was something that I was already passionate about and already in my head an expert in. It was health and wellness, and that's something that I'm passionate about and I'm good at, and I have a lot of wisdom to share with people in that space. So I'm like, and experience. So I'm like, this is perfect. So I shouldn't even be worried about not being prepared. I need to walk in there like I'm supposed to be in there and speak like I have something to say. The panel went great. It was like, I said some things that I was like, oh shoot, where did that even come from? Unfortunately, they had some media troubles and they don't have a lot of footage from that. So I only have like my personal footage. If I get that, by the time I edit this, you'll see. But when I tell y'all, it was perfect. It was such a nice event. It was for the girls. I honestly, like, after the sum of that event, I was like, I prayed. I said this in my head and I asked for it and I approached it and I walked in a favorable way and in a faithful way. And it happened. And it happened like this. I'm not dreaming big enough. I'm not asking God for the things that I want and taking the steps to get them. I'm asking him for small things that I know he can. And if I was God, I'll be like, girl, stop insulting me, please. Like, what do you want? So it really just like after that, so we had Soulstice, and then after that, I'm like, I need to be asking for the things that I want now and walking in them like they've already been done. And that's what I would always do, is not walk in them like I'll walk like, can he do it? How will he do it? Is he going to do it? Because of the past and because of things that have happened in the past. But guess what? When Jesus told the fishermen to go back and fish in the spot that they've already fished 100 times in, they were like, we're a professional fisherman. Jesus, you telling us, a carpenter, telling us to go back and throw our nets where we already threw our nets. And I didn't want to be somebody who didn't go back and throw my net because I felt like I've already tried that, or I've already done this and it went this way. No, if God tells me to do something and Jesus tells me to do something, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it with the same energy like if it's my first time doing it. Because when he says it's time, it's time. Y'all see how this is building. Y'all see how it's like my momentum is building. And I started this series on Instagram and it was called Fine and Favored. The fine part is me refining and tailoring my life to receive the things that I want, and favored is how I'm moving while I'm doing that. And into it. And every time I do something and I execute it, I'm like, that is faith. And I need to take that into the next thing with me. Let me tell you about the next thing. Recently, we just finished throwing an acoustic event. And at this point, it's not my first event. I'm getting a little bit more confidence because I'm like, okay, I know the plan. I know what I'm supposed to do. I know what's included. And plus, we just threw Soulstice. So everything that we plan now, I'm like, thank you, God, for giving us the hardest thing first, because everything else seemed like a walk in the park. He had given us like more people and more team to be able to put on these events in a way, because I could not do this stuff by myself. We literally have a friend. Her name is Rachel, and she has an operations business. And she was able to come in and do a lot of the things that I was doing that was adding to my workload that couldn't let me function in the job that I was actually, in the role that I was actually supposed to be doing. And that, like, to me, just like so grateful. We have our teammate Vaughn. If you guys should know Vaughn by now. Vaughn came on when we did The Resident. And Vaughn has been sent from heaven. Like, literally the Lord placed him in our life because he has literally brought such a different level. Like, we've leveled up since he's been on the team. So I say all that to say, we going in with a little bit more confidence now because we threw Soulstice. We did this. We could do this. We could do anything. So we decided to do a smaller, more intimate event because we're trying to find our super fans, and we're trying to really tune into the people who are like a part of and along for the journey, and really the diehard fans. So we wanted to create an intimate space. And also, our budget was not letting us do anything over 100. So I'm like, how can we make this an amazing event for this many people? And I figured out, I'm like, let's just do this golden hour event. We'll get a venue. We already have leftover alcohol from Soulstice Live. We have the POS systems. We have all the things that we need. So let's just do this quick event. And then we could use some of the earnings to pay off some of the debt that we have from the show. I literally am feeling so confident about my plan. I'm like, this is my plan and I have it. And this plan is actually proven to work. So here I go again, getting back into that space where I'm trying to grab control. And one thing I learned was that God would literally sit there and watch you try everything you can and watch your plan crumble. And he's not going to just let your plan fall apart like a little bit. The whole thing, God let my plan crumble to the ground. So I have no other choice but to trust his. And even down to the day before, like literally, if the event was on on Saturday, we had the funds to pay for anything and everything on Thursday. Whole time planning the whole event. I don't know how we paying this. I don't know how we paying for that. We saying we about to get food, decorations with what money. And I'm like, God, like, you did it last time. You made money fall out of the air last time. What are you going to do this time? I got to the point, again, if I perish, I perish. Is either he doesn't provide or he does. And he always provides. And I don't wait for him to provide for me to take the steps and do what I need to do. If I'm partnering with him, I do my side. I'm not micromanaging how he's going to make it happen. I let him do his half. What I can do is I can market the event. I could tell people about the event. I could plan. I could look at the decor we want, know exactly what I need, how much money it's going to take. And then he's going to provide the money when he's supposed to provide the money. Y'all, when I tell you that was the most cutesy event that I've ever done, I'm so obsessed with it. But the lesson I kind of left with was I felt like after that event, I was more shaken than I wanted to be. And I was like, dang, like, first of all, Maxie! I'm like, God, I feel like I was shaken. I feel like ye of little faith. Like, do you believe or not? Like, I felt like I was falling through the water. And for me, during the planning period, I don't think I stayed in his word enough. And I feel like that's why I was swaying. I feel like even when it comes to business and all of the ways that I should be operating, I'm trying to seek God in everything that I'm doing, whether it's work, my personal life. And the devil wants to keep you away from your purpose. He doesn't want you to realize your identity. He doesn't want you to realize your purpose. He doesn't want you to realize any of that stuff. He's trying to keep you stuck and comfortable. After this event, something that I want to make sure that I'm doing anytime I plan something is I am in the Word and I'm looking for things that I can read and remind myself that I can, to allow me to stay on track. The week before the show, I was so overwhelmed because I started feeling like stress and all of these things coming in, and I have so many stuff on my plate, not just with the event, but with work and then my family and my personal life. And I started realizing, I was like, where am I? I didn't have my footing in anything. And I was like, where am I? I'm exhausted. I started feeling myself fighting off a cold because I'm exhausted. I'm like, why do I feel burnt out? You know what? Let's just make a shift. I'm gonna go get some more drink. Let's make a shift and let's just get to the personal stuff. I'm babysitting this tea. And I know I said I went downstairs to get something to drink, but I got distracted and I didn't. So I'm drinking my iced tea. You've pretty much been caught up on the things that have been happening. But when we look at the personal side of my life, that's a whole nother thing. And I love how like both of them are kind of like intertwined, because while I was doing all of these events and planning all of these stuff and just like leaning into my role and stuff more, I'm like, where am I? I was trying to find a balance and I was trying to create new routines. Where's the other stuff? It's like, I want to have a certain amount of financial freedom. I want to have a crush. I want to have this relationship with myself that looks like this and time for myself. And I'm like, okay, well, let's switch up your systems. Let's organize your life in a certain way and we'll make that happen. The week before this last event, I was like, something's got to give. But I didn't know what it is that had to give because I've made new routines so many times, but I had never actively taken certain steps. And you know that quote, I think it's in the Atomic Habits book, and it's talking about you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the levels of your systems. I've read that book. I know that statement. I know that quote. But is it actually clocking up here? So for me, my first agenda was to figure out what my current systems were, where'd they come from, and what are they in place to support. When I did that, my systems were focused on, I would say in general, it was cooking, cleaning, working out. There was a point where those things were, if I could do that in my day, I was so productive, mission accomplished, like pat on the back. But that was when I didn't have any idea of what I wanted in my life, what I wanted my career to be. I didn't have anything else filling up that space. I had some major changes to do. Before I even made any changes, let me tell you, I'm sure you've already noticed if you've watched my other vlogs, you're probably like, why is your bed that way? I, for the first time in 5 years of me living in Los Angeles, rearranged my room. It started with Junior. I heard him moving around like a freaking building furniture in his room. I go upstairs, he's completely switched his room up. And he does that like at least twice a year. He always moves his room around. And then I was like, okay, that's typical Junior. Then Will, I hear him moving around his room on a separate day. And I'm like, what's going on? Will was like cleaning up under his bed and he's like rearranging stuff in his room. He doesn't have a lot of work space to work with, but he's moving stuff around. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, yeah, I'm just getting through some things, like cleaning up. I said, Nikki, when was the last time you did that? And y'all know I've been meaning to do some art and do all of these stuff, but I never have the time to. So I'm like, you know what I can do to switch things up? Because right now it's not in the budget for me to be spending money on my walls. For what? I just come in here to sleep. I'm like, you know what? Let's rearrange it. When I tell you everybody needs to rearrange their room, sometimes you just need to see something differently. But anytime I walked in my room, everything looked different. And it was almost like the habits that I had created in my room, in this space, were being interrupted by what was physically present. So because it wasn't my bed in the same way, so I didn't have to take my feet out, put it on my bed. Now I have to think of what's the best way to get into my bed? Like, how do I want to maneuver in this new space? Like, what's my new favorite spot? Like, there's so much more room for activities. So me changing up my room, I'm like, okay, we got to look at these systems a little closer. So after I looked and I was like, none of this is set up for where I am trying to go. When I looked at my life, imagine a circle and it has everybody I love and care about on the inside of the circle, and then I'm on the outside. And I literally was like, what the heck? That's why I'm having issues like making decisions and centering myself for myself. Everything always feels like it's pulling from me. And this isn't because the people around me are doing that. It's because I am putting them there. But I'm putting them there because once that was the thing that made me feel like I had the most value. That was the thing that made me feel like I had purpose. And I just because I didn't have anything else to fill that space. So now that I have something else to fill that space, now it's shining a light on something that I'm really kind of struggling with. But the thing is, I've been in this space before, and I was in this space before I transitioned careers. And it was a space of unknown. I didn't know what I really wanted, and I didn't know where to start. So for me, I'm like, okay, what did I do last time that helped me? I had to make certain decisions that would literally physically free up more time and just like create boundaries. So for example, I work all the time. And because I love what I do, it's easy for me to work all the time. So I'm like, I need a hard out time because right now I haven't been able to find the time to do anything for myself. And I would convince myself that the time doesn't exist, but it's because I don't prioritize myself. It was a really difficult thing for me because the first couple of weeks that I was doing it, I failed every single time. Being aware of it made me like, oh shoot, this is a problem. It took me a couple of weeks to just kind of like see how bad it was. And then I'm like, okay, whether or not you feel comfortable or if it makes sense, you need to at least start being vocal about it. So I started doing that, figured out a new chore system. That was something I was doing a lot of chores. And the thing is with men, let me tell you something. Ladies, let me tell you something. Men are going to take care of themselves. You need to teach them how to take care of you. If you take care of them, they're going to take care of them and nobody's taking care of you. If you do something for them, they're not going to feel the need to do it because it's convenient for you to do it for them. I made a new chore system, split it up. And when I tell you, nobody cared. Everybody was like, this is great. It took a little bit for us to figure out on how it works. But now like the house is pretty much clean most of the time. And I have cut my workload for chores in half, more than half. So I'm like, oh my gosh, where else can I do this in my life? I'm not centered in my life because there's a void that I'm trying to fill. What is that void and how can I fill it? And I realized that the best way for me to fill it is with God, but also with me being the person that I would want to marry to myself. How can I expect a guy to want to take me on a date every week if I can't take myself on a date every week? If I can't prioritize that time? And I really like, it made me so emotional because I'm like, dang girl, like you're the worst boyfriend to yourself. I told myself, I was like, right now I've been working on just, taking myself seriously and making the time for myself. And when it comes to like my creativity and being present and going after the things that I want, like how am I responsible for where I am? Because I truly believe that whenever we look up at our life, if you are not happy with where you are, instead of pointing and looking at everybody else and saying, they did this to me, this happened and this happened, what choices have you made over the past few years that put you in this position? And what choices are you going to make to get you out? And I feel like I'm aware of certain choices that I've made or failed to make. And now that I'm like being aware and feeling more confident, and it's because of my obedience in certain areas and the faith that I have and the fact that I'm walking in favor, I'm like, now I'm feeling like I'm ready. And y'all know I've been doing content for a very long time. It's been since like 2018, 2019 when I started making content. I have everything I need. Everything I need. I used to be like, God, give me the cameras, even this microphone. Y'all are hearing me on a microphone right now. I have a microphone. I have the best camera. I have a DJI pocket camera. I have a tripod. I have a gimbal. I have literally everything that I need. I have a great room, good lighting. I'm like, I have music. I have so many things that I can use. I'm so creative and I do it as my job. Let's pour that into myself. And I feel like after making that switch mentally, I'm like, my personal brand, let's get that thing going. I've been working on my brand identity for a long time. And when I built my page on fitness, I remember going complete opposite to like not posting anything. And then I got to the point where I was like, what do I want to post about? And then I started feeling like an imposter because I'm like, I don't have anything to prove when it comes to everything that I'm doing or what I'm wanting to do. I don't even know what I want to do. So how can I even speak on something? And I'm not somebody who's just like, just look at me, like follow me. Like, I don't care. Like, I just want to be able to create because I love to create. But I struggled to be creative because I was trying to overthink it and I wasn't necessarily being present. I was going too much in the future, trying to think of what I think people would want to see, like what would benefit them, instead of just existing. And that's just like a through line in all of my life, which is like, how can I just be? You have to be in a present space so you will be able to see like what's around you. What can I use? What am I inspired to create? Like all of those things, all of your answers are right in the present. And that's why God wants us to stay there. He doesn't want us to live in the past or get too far ahead of ourselves. He will give us the vision and the drive, but you need to stay present because everything you need is here. Like I love to create content and I love to do that. So instead of running away from it, let's lean into it. So I'm like, Nikki, let's try this one more time. Let's go ahead and cast your net and see what we catch. So I went ahead and I was like, okay, what are my rates? Like, what do I even charge for? Let's write those things down. Like if I want to travel and go on trips, I love traveling and I love making vlogs and I love making content. Why not get paid for it? I have everything I need to do so. So let's do it. Let's find a way that we can do that so we can create some sort of freedom for yourself and balance. Because I don't think you'll ever get to a balance. I think different seasons call for different parts of you. And I think this season that I'm entering into is less about my work and more about me getting my own personal brand and my life in order. Do you want to know the craziest thing? And this is me just being vulnerable. I was kind of avoiding this. I know, like, it's so weird. It's like I know that when I lean in and I throw my net this time, I know it's going to be different, but I never created the systems to do it because I would always be like, oh my God, I'm not ready deep down. And I think that's what God was responding to. And that's kind of like the resistance and the stronghold that kind of kept me behind that wall. The past few years were just really heavy for me, and not heavy as in like, oh, I can't take this. It was heavy as in I felt like I was in 2-a-days boot camps. I feel like I was like lifting weights. I was getting strong, and not just strong physically or in any other way, but strong in my faith. And I was able to find my footing, find my ground, like put my feet somewhere, and to actually feel like I'm ready and I'm ready to receive and I deserve it. And I'm going to work hard for myself. From what I've seen him do, the man works fast. And sometimes it's like you could be here once and then next thing you know, next month, I'm on a brand trip. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's what's been going on the past 7 months. Let me take my little last swig. If you're in a building phase right now and you are making similar adjustments and you can relate to anything that I've just kind of spoke about, let's just keep being rooted. Whatever your roots are, if they are rooted in the ground and in Him, lean into that and your fruit will come. We got this, girl. We literally got this. That thing you asking for, it's already done. So let's just align with where it is and the person that receives that. And that's where we need to be.